Isn't it great to come across an antiquity you love? It's not only cool in nature, but it's got a story to it, it's got the right patina, and it maybe even already has gilding you love intact. But how often does that happen? Not often enough, right? Well, join me today as I turn the clock back 200 plus years on a find of the day that will be a treasure of tomorrow. Welcome down to my basement. The only unfinished area of my home, but you have to have an unfinished area to do projects like this, right? Keep that in mind. Well, right here in front of me is pure treasure. I was out shopping last weekend with my friend Matt McKenzie, and I overlooked it, walked right past by it, but he is always looking high and buying low. He found this underneath a 4-foot round glass top that was included with the purchase I made. And on top of it, it had all kinds of beautiful antiques, but what was hidden was this Swan table base with all of its intricate little carvings and its stress fractures on its neck and beak and on its wings. But what I see for this, as I reimagine it in my mind, is something reminiscent of a lover's bench on an antique carnival carousel. You know, where lovers would sit between the swan wings and go around rather than ride the horses. You know, something that's been painted over, gilded over, dragged around Europe for hundreds of years. That's the look that I reimagine this one of a kind to be. And stay with me while I walk you through my process. If you look at anything that's been around for a long time, I mean a real antique, you'll notice that age is very random on the piece. Sometimes it's been sitting in a window, so that side is affected, it's more faded. Other times it could have been near a draft, in which case the finish is crackled more on this side. But it's never like the crackle finish paint supplies you can pick up at a craft store where everything is crackled evenly. That to me says it was made out of a factory right before it got on a container ship and got shipped to, I don't know, a hobby store here in town or a home decor store. Now, if you spend some time with antiques, you know that anything that's been around for a couple hundred years has been painted, gilded over and over. So what I want to do is add a couple of random spots of color, because again, it's going to crackle and gild in random fashion so that it's peeling and aging. But underneath it all, I'm going to add a little bit of chinoiserie red, just in certain areas, not everywhere, but just areas that I plan on exposing here and there. So I know it looks like I might be destroying my little project, but I'm not. I did this on pillars in my townhome years ago with a little bit of metallic under the cream colored paint that I went and crackled and aged, and wow, it was very antique looking and very cool. Now, before I go crazy gilding this with a variety of different gilt paints and some gold leaf sheets that I have, I'm first going to go ahead and set this up for some crackled finish. I've usually bought crackled finish in the past, but I found out that you can water down some Elmer's glue with some warm water, apply that, then gild over it, and that will start to crack, and that will leave the colors underneath, like the white, what looks like plaster pickling, as well as the wood tones and some of the chinoiserie red and the black to kind of peek through. And again, just here and there, not a lot. I don't want big patches of color coming through, just traces of earlier layers of paint for the illusion of. This is looking so good. Already the beak is starting to get bubbly because the glue is not yet dried, and the gild over the top is working just as I had hoped it would. What's funny is how many times I've been to Paris, but yet I still haven't been to Versailles. Someday soon, maybe this year. You know, I'm thinking, could I be a counterfeit artist for Marie Antoinette antiques? Couple bucks in that. For those of you wondering if I have gold swan faucets throughout my entire home, the answer is no. Only because I haven't found them at the right price. I know some of you watching this love to go to casinos. I don't know how to play cards, so I do swans instead.
seen somebody get nipped by a swan? Oh my. Don't mistake their beauty for kindness, ever. That's to be admired from a distance. I'm loving the color of this gold. It's pretty much exactly what I was looking for. It's the color on it by Rust-Oleum. It's called Gold Mine. This Wagner heat gun is perfect for creating an antique finish. It's starting to bubble this metallic paint and expose some of the areas of the chinoiserie red and that matte black that I put down, as well as leave some of the pickling effects, which look like plaster, the way they used to apply it to wood furniture before they went and gilded it. All on a Sunday afternoon. Well, now that the gilt paint has dried, I'm going to go ahead and use Rust-Oleum's decorative glaze in a Java brown to give it some additional age, some additional depth. I'm going to sponge it on and then we'll just wipe it off. I don't know if you can see in these work lights, this side that hasn't been glazed yet looks like it could have been painted recently, perhaps. No bubbly and chippy and cracky. However, this side with some glaze on it looks like it could have been in a mansion for the last 200 years, just waiting to be found.